Powered by Sports Interaction, Canada Sportsbook.
It's March Mania at Sports Interaction. NHL, NBA, March Madness, MLB, and so much more. It's bananas. Play Pinata Picks and Minute Madness, exclusive games with insane odds you can't play anywhere else. Make your next bet with Sports Interaction. Download the app in Ontario, use the QR code at the bottom of your screen, or head to sportsinteraction.com/SDPN to get started. 19 plus, please play responsibly. Gentlemen, I am not used to this. Nate, you know this better than anybody because you're a recurring guest. I'm not used to this.
Third time now?
Yeah. I'm not used to. First of all, I'm not used to having 3 guests. This is cool. Carter, welcome by the way. Nice to have you. But what I'm even more not used to is covering Flames wins. As if you're a recurring viewer, you know that whenever I'm hosting Game Over Calgary, it's usually on the heels of a loss, but we got some better fortunes today in Calgary Flames land. Welcome to Game Over Calgary. My name is Auddie James. Joining me, as you can see on my right, is that the right of my screen? I believe. I don't think it's flipped for anybody, but if it's on my right, I'm going to say it's my right. Is Nate. On my left is Carter from the Quack Report over on the Hockey Podcast Network. Good to have the boys locked and loaded for today's episode. On the heels of a Calgary Flames 5-1 win over the Anaheim Ducks. A little bit of a different tune in today's game than the one that took place last week against the Anaheim Ducks. Would you say the same, Nate?
Yeah, I definitely would. And Carter and I were in attendance for that game as well. We've been covering this team now for 4 years, and because of this little thing that happened called the pandemic, this is the first time. That was the first time that we actually got to see the Ducks live in person. So that was a really fun experience, and just I feel like it kind of gave us a different perspective on some of the players that we've been watching for these last 4 years. Just seeing them in person, like it's a different experience overall, and like a different you take certain like different things away from it compared to watching on television the entire time. So
yeah, definitely. And we'll preface with a couple things first. Nate has been on the show before, obviously a Flames fan first and foremost.
And I'm usually lurking in the chat.
He is lurking in the chat. He's always here.
I'm not gonna lie. For a split second, I had a brain fart, and I went, "Damn it! I'm doing this hit, and I'm gonna miss Game Over Calgary." And then I went, "Wait a second,
you are Game Over Calgary tonight."
Exactly. It was a very meta moment.
Yeah. And Carter is, you cover the Ducks, but you want to share your allegiances with all of the lovely Flames fans in the chat.
I'm not sure if I do, but I will anyways. Yeah, big thumbs down. I'm an Oilers fan. I know, dirty rotten Oilers fan.
Dirty rotten Oilers fan. This isn't Game Over Edmonton.
Yeah.
What's going on here?
Not a lot of friends probably between Calgary and Anaheim. Not many people like me right now.
Rightfully so. Hey, we like you. I liked you enough to have you on the show, so we'll go with that. That's exactly what matters the most. Okay, I guess look at the way I looked at tonight's game. And the best thing about this is we can get a Flames perspective from you too, Nate, because obviously there's some Flames ties there. I know you cover the Ducks, but as we just mentioned, you're a Flames fan. Vladar gets the start, which, second half of a back-to-back, Markstrom kind of got lit up last night in LA, kind of to be expected. So Vladar gets the start, Tanev out, Gilbert in, and then to my notes, because it's that time of year where everybody except for the Anaheim Ducks are watching the out-of-town scoreboard, because sometimes there's implications there. For Calgary, there was very much implications on the out-of-town scoreboard tonight. Both the Preds and the Jets, who the Flames are going to be rustling feathers with here down the stretch, won. So this was a big game for the Flames coming into it, in more ways than one. Obviously, they need to get back on the schneid of winning. But with the Preds and the Jets winning their games respectively, super important game. They end up getting the win. But yeah, had it been the other way, which we saw last week, the Anaheim Ducks had their way with the Calgary Flames. John Gibson did what John Gibson does, stood on his head, and the Ducks just looked so much faster. I'm talking about fast, the Jets. The Ducks looked so much faster, but tonight they looked a little flat. Carter, I'll start with you. What did you see from Anaheim tonight in this contest against the Flames?
Yeah, I agree 100%. The Ducks were not the same as the Ducks we saw. What was that, a couple weeks ago in Calgary? So, yeah, I mean, you mentioned John Gibson already, and he let in 5 goals, but he made a lot of big stops and kind of kept the Ducks within striking distance, I guess, for a large chunk of the game. Unfortunately, he just wasn't getting any help either defensively or offensively to try and, get a comeback, I guess, for the Ducks. So
yeah, there really
that
wasn't.
sums up the Ducks' entire season. Let's be honest.
Yeah, really.
John Gibson didn't get help on defense, didn't get help on offense, and there you go.
There wasn't much of a counter from the Ducks. It seemed like they didn't like. It was kind of weird. Like, it didn't seem like they just kind of rolled over and submitted. They just didn't kind of like take it to that next level, if that makes sense. Like, I feel like, it could have been a better game for the Ducks. I think they had their chances. They just didn't. To be blunt, their give a shit level was just at an all-time low. And I guess if you're a 27th place team coming into tonight's contest, your give a shit level with 11 games left or however much it is probably at an all-time low. Like, these guys are probably booking tea times already. At least I would be. But yeah, like the give a shit level looked low. The Flames played well. And Nate, maybe I'll get your Flames perspective if you can put your Flames hat on for a minute here. The way I saw it, the Flames played well. There we go. Literally puts the. You had that queued up. You
knew he was going to say that, hey?
Bro was ready. Bro was ready with that.
I was going to make a joke, and I was like, you lined it up perfectly for me. I promise everybody, we did not have that.
We didn't orchestrate this, I like at all. This was not premeditated in any way, shape, or form. But perfect. That was incredible. What was that? Where was I even going with this? Put your Flames cap on for a second. You literally do. The Flames, I think, played well, but I don't think they were like they didn't play like. How am I trying to put this? They were good, but they weren't like, this is a shit team. All due respect, this is a shit Ducks team, basement dwelling team. They looked good, but they didn't look like stellar. If that makes sense. Like, can you see what I'm trying to say?
Yeah, I can kind of see what you're saying. I think it kind of comes down to, and I think I noticed this out of that game a couple Fridays ago now too, is just, the Ducks have that kind of youthful impact throughout their roster, right? Like, not too many guys are over the age of like 28, 30 on that roster compared to the Calgary Flames, and it's just kind of a difference of speed and maybe a difference of a Jacob Pelche not in the lineup tonight, to be honest with you. So
yeah, he I'll be fully transparent with everybody watching too, because Flames fans might get mad at me for this. I watched up till the 4-0 goal last night, and then I said, "Fuck this shit, I'm going to bed." I didn't watch. It's an 8:30 start. They're down 4-0. My give a shit level to watch the game was at an all-time low. But from what I understand, Pelche left the game for a little bit there. Went down the tunnel, ended up finishing the game. So my thoughts there were like, maybe it's precautionary that he's just being held out tonight. Or on the flip side, and probably more realistic, he made one small mistake last night that Daryl Sutter didn't like, and now he's facing the consequences, because that's just how Daryl Sutter operates.
Yeah, like, I understand, if you make a big mistake kind of thing, there's punishment or whatever for it, right? Whether it's a bag skate or whatever, but and especially, you're gonna kind of shorten the leash a little bit on some of the younger guys, right? Just to show like this is what it takes to stay here. But Daryl Sutter has so short of a leash that this notepad here is longer than it. Like, he gives nothing whatsoever, it feels like sometimes. So it's a little frustrating, but I mean, what are you going to do for the rest of this season at least?
Nothing. There's nothing you can do. Yeah, we'll see. More on that in a bit, with a lot of stuff that's kind of come out in the media the past couple days in regards to Daryl Sutter. I'd love to get your boys' thoughts on it. One bright spot for the Ducks tonight that I found, I found Rick Ball saying his name a lot. He looked good tonight, and maybe this is just me not watching enough Ducks games. Maybe he's actually pretty good. I haven't looked at the stats or the underlying numbers or all that fun stuff that people like to use to judge how good a player is. But Carter, I think Frank Vetrano looked pretty good tonight. Is that a recurring thing, or is this kind of coming out of nowhere?
I wouldn't go so far as to say a recurring thing, but he can show flashes of the scoring touch that he has, and it's like it comes in waves. So he'll go like 3, 4, 5 games where he looks really good. He'll put up, say 4 goals over those 6 games or something like that, and then he'll just disappear for the next 4 or 5 games, and then he'll come back. So yeah, he does have that scoring touch, and when he's on, he's really on and very noticeable and just all over the net. And like you said, you hear the announcer saying his name over and over and over again. But the consistency just hasn't quite been there with Frank Vetrano. And to go back to what you were talking about earlier, the give a shit level in Anaheim is pretty low and has been for the last few months, really since the flip of the calendar. So, it's kind of understandable in a way, but also Frank Vetrano's at best your second line, like a second line forward. He's really just kind of that middle 6 guy. So to expect him to always be on would be a little bit unreasonable, I think. But no, you're right. He did look really great tonight, and yeah, like it is kind of something that he's known for, I guess, is just being around the net and taking good shots.
I guess it's a bit of a double standard. Sorry, quickly, a bit of a double standard. Yeah. The give a shit level, and the fact that Frank Vetrano looked good tonight, and he was kind of like the focal point. But if everybody else doesn't give a fuck, and Frank Vetrano's the only one out here, obviously he's gonna look good. But but I did find that he was in on a lot of plays. He was hard on the forecheck. He was he battles hard for pucks. He looked pretty good. Obviously gets a goal, the only goal for the Ducks tonight. So what were you gonna say there, Nate? I was
gonna say, just the especially like early on this season, like he seemed very snake bitten. Like I remember Carter and I talking about it. Like just he was sniffing around the net constantly, getting really good chances, leading almost every game in shots, not even shot attempts, just straight up shots. And just he could not buy one for his entire salary for a year kind of thing. It just wasn't happening for him. And then he got that one that just kind of shook him out of that. I think he went like 4 goals in 5 games or something like that. Like he went on a pretty good run for a while there. If I'm remembering that right, Carter.
Yeah, you're right. I think he started the season pretty hot. Like his shooting percentage was just ridiculous. It was at like 15 or 20%, and like his career average was like 10, like 9 or 10 or something like that. And then that happened. It was almost like he sort of regressed back, and things started to average out, and he went that long stretch without any goals. And so I guess in comparison, he's a little bit more consistent now, but still it's on and off for him. So
yeah, and like I said, I mean, it's hard to not look good on a Ducks team that's 27th in the league, and they probably just want this season to be over with. Okay, we got 24 people in here, not a whole lot tonight. It's the heels of a Calgary Flames win. People like to watch. It's like the LFRs. People like to, if you go and watch Steve's LFRs, he's got all the views on the ones where the Leafs suck, and less views when the Leafs are good. Like you can the historic David Ayres video. That's a good one.
1.1. It came across my feed the other day.
That's a good one. That's a good video. And the Leafs stunk that game, and they lost to their own Zamboni driver. But it's okay. 24 people were vibing. Flames won. It is what it is. Whatever side of the fence you land on, if you want them to tank or you want them to lose out, or if you want them to keep staying competitive, we're going to talk about it. Okay, let's see what the people have to say in here. Left-handed Penman, good to see you, my friend. As always, back to the team playing significantly better in front of Vladar. They did play pretty solid in front of Dan Vladar tonight. I will give them credit for that. Noah Adler, it's crazy in hindsight how long the Flames struggled, even winning a game in Anaheim. That is true. The curse at the Honda Center was real. We talked about it with Annie last week, actually. We had to go back and actually look to see when that curse was broken. I think it was 2017. Or 18. Mm-hmm. It was much further away than I thought. I thought it was way more recent, like in the last couple of years. But as you mentioned at the top of the show there, Nate, this pandemic thing kind of threw a wrench in everybody's plans, and you kind of forget that was like 2 years of your life that is just gone in a blip.
Yeah.
Like, it's just like, oh yeah, that was 2 years ago. No, wait, hold on. COVID started 2 years ago. But anyway,
I can't get that time back, and I can't get that weight off.
I feel you. I've been pushing off going suit shopping for the wedding because I'm just like, I can get a little bit. I could lower that number a little bit. It hasn't worked so far. Let's see here. Justin, how you doing? Teapot carrying this team. Love to see it. 3-point night for Tyler Toffoli tonight. Things you love to see. Do you want to say the thing, Nate?
Am I going to say that? I'll say the thing.
You can say the thing.
Top Titty Toffoli!
That's what we like to hear. Some booze for Carter when he said he was an Oilers fan, and that's fair. Yep. That's understandable. Yep. AU's vlog. What's up, buddy? Auddie, great game. I am happy. I am happy that you are happy. After the Flames beat the Ducks 5-1 tonight at the Honda Center. Sutter being Sutter, it's the double standard for me, says Justin. Lucic makes dozens of mistakes and gets no punishment. This is true. However, he did just sit out 2 games, so I mean, he should be sitting out longer, I think. But it is what it is. Yeah. I digress. It's a little too late for that. Nanya says, let's go, boys. Auddie James came here from Twitter. Chugga, chugga, choo-choo. Good to see ya. Thank you for stopping by from Twitter, by the way. Tonight was a contradictory for the Flames. They're really good in the second half of the back-to-backs, but really bad against bad teams. Well, they were pretty good tonight, and the Ducks are not a good team. They're usually up to this point. Yes, you're right. Usually they beat the good teams, and the scheduled wins or the free spaces on the bingo cards are the ones that they end up losing. But tonight, obviously, they win this one in Anaheim, and that's not quite the script. But yeah, we ride, we move. Nick Ritchie revenge tour, 37 seconds in.
I was 0% surprised. As soon as I saw that Ritchie was the one who scored the goal, I was like, of course. Why wouldn't it be Nick Ritchie, right?
If you could get that for plus money on Sports Interaction, you would have been stupid tonight not to play it.
Oh yeah.
It's like the Dangles doozies. What is he? It's like what do they call those ones? Like the returning friends or whatever. They got the hometown ones, or like the returning friends. If it's like, Matt Martin to score goals like plus 1,000 against the Leafs when they play the Islanders, stuff like that. You'd be silly not to take that over at SIA Sports Interaction. The Flames power play looked a little bit better tonight. They get some power play goals, which is rare in this economy. I don't want to beat this one too much to death, boys, because I'm at a point with the Flames where it's like, where are we? What are we? What are we doing here? I come on this show and I talk about how bad they've been, and then they win. Oh, yeah, there it is, Left-Handed Penman. Former friends is what they're called, the former friends bets.
There you go.
But anyways, we're at this point in the season with the Calgary Flames where it's like we twiddle our thumbs and we say, what is this team? With whatever it is, 10 or 11 games left, still in the chase by a slim margin. It doesn't look great. So we're just going to keep riding the wave and seeing where this...
I can't even do it. I can't do it.
I can't believe I did it. That's what
I'm ashamed of you, Auddie.
That's what pains me the most. Justin says he's happy he got to use the Nate meme tonight, so that's a plus. Go follow at Sea of Red Central on Twitter to see the Nate meme. The Nate meme has not come out very much this year because he only comes out on wins, and the Flames haven't been doing much of that. And now, talking about wins, the opposite of a win is a loss. And the NHL took a bit of a loss today, boys. I would be remiss if we didn't talk about this. Nate being the Jersey guy that he is. Carter, I know you're a Jersey guy too, but Nate is like the Jersey guy.
The Jersey guy. Oh, yes.
It's like beyond comparable to anybody else that I know. But the NHL takes a bit of an L at the surface level so far by announcing that the newest jersey partner, supplier, on ice official jerseys, replica jerseys, whatever you want to call it, all that stuff now belongs to one entity starting in 2024-2025. And that's going to be Fanatics. You may be familiar with Fanatics if you've placed an order through them. It probably got fucked up. So, Nate, I don't want you to spit out your drink. I won't keep making you laugh. But yeah, you're probably familiar with them. If you've placed an order, they probably screwed something up with an upside down logo, spelt the name wrong on the back, or it's just started to peel. Nate, you put out a really good thread today on Twitter at Tate Nomis. See what he did there? Flip the first letter of the last name, last letter of the.
I can't even take credit for that one. That was coworkers of mine who
that
were
was
fucking
good
with me in a document one day.
That was good. It was good. But at Tate Nomis, you can go see the thread. Put out a really good thread about a lot of information that has to do, and a lot of shout out to Greg Wyshynski for putting out a lot of information as well. But you put out a really good thread, just kind of outlining stuff in a nutshell. Just kind of explain that thread. Tell me your 2 cents on Fanatics coming in and being the official jersey company of the NHL for the next decade.
Yeah, so I guess my initial reaction was a lot like other people's who, Fanatics is seen primarily as, like fan retail and e-commerce and that kind of thing. And it's not that great usually. So I've actually been surprisingly very fortunate. I think I've only ever had one thing that's branded as Fanatics that it's fallen apart in some way or another. It's just like the NHL shield fell off the sleeve, but I honestly I didn't really care about it. But I've seen more horror stories than I can count of I think like one shirt I saw was like a mix of a Rangers and it was like Rangers and Islanders together.
Yeah.
It was the Rangers logo and it
what?
said New York Islanders.
Yeah.
How do you fuck that up?
Or you got like Jack Hughes on the back of a New Jersey jersey, but then it's got 13 on the sleeves. And yeah, anyway, so my initial reaction was, oh crap, you took like the option even worse than, in my opinion, would have been going with Nike, would have been the other bad option. I'm not a huge fan of Nike jerseys personally.
Mm-hmm.
But I was like, you really went to the bottom of the barrel. And by the sounds of it, with that James Greg Wyshynski article, it sounds like the NHL just went to Fanatics and said, "Hey, do you want to do this?" Which
they didn't shop around.
I'd be interested to see if they did shop it around. That's the thing for me. So because like my front runner would have been CCM, and like they have like some money behind it, and the question's maybe did they have enough money that they could have done it. But they are supplying for the 32 AHL teams. They're supplying for the three leagues across the Canadian Hockey League there, the WHL, QMJ, and the OHL there.
They supply the AJHL, if that means anything.
Yeah, that too, right? Yeah. But yeah, so like my initial reaction was, oh, like you screwed it on this one. Come on. But then something interesting that I learned in Wyshynski's article actually was that the NFL and MLB jerseys actually are done by Fanatics, and they are branded as Nike. So Fanatics had bought Majestic, who did all the MLB apparel. I think they bought them back in 2017, if I'm remembering that correctly.
Yeah, it was. It was a while ago, and they stayed as Majestic for until last season when the Nikes years, came in. Yeah.
Yeah. So then, kind of seeing that, I completely just stayed away from homework today. Probably not the best choice, but I decided to take a look at, because they would on the Fanatics websites, they sell the authentic versions along with the retail versions. And so, I'm comparing the football jerseys and the baseball jerseys and that kind of thing. And my hope is, by seeing what I've seen, is that the authentics do look really good. And especially taking into consideration the NFL, I haven't heard too many like on-field issues with NFL jerseys. So that's promising, to say the least. My hope is
they get like grabbed and torn and ripped out. Exactly. Like they hold up pretty well.
Yeah. So my hope is that the retail side, which is where I have quite a few more questions still, is able to be improved. Because I even have one of the Chicago Bears jerseys. I got a Mac jersey in my closet here, and I was looking at it, and like it is actually pretty nice, and it's a lot better than the NHL ones I've seen, to be honest with you. So I'm hoping that the retail side is able to pick it up a little bit more. And maybe if that's, them going to another supplier, kind of subletting it in a way, or, Mitchell and Ness is a company that's owned by Fanatics. So, maybe get that brand specifically to do some of the other stuff a bit more and whatnot. But so, seeing what the MLB and the NFL have done, that's a bit more promising to me, as well as the fact is the Fanatics on ice jerseys will still be made in Quebec at the factory where the Adidas ones are still currently being made. That factory also makes for the MLB, like they do like Hockey Canada jerseys and stuff like that. There's a lot of people that, or a lot of leagues that factory supplies to specifically. So that gives me a bit more optimism there. Now, on the flip side, the question I have is, what are we going to see in regards to authentic jerseys at retail? If it follows what the NFL and the MLB have, those jerseys are going to go back to kind of like the Reebok era, where those authentic jerseys are going to be about $500 some. But your retail ones are about the 150 mark, where the NHL ones still are. So.
Are you talking made in Canada as authentic retail, or are you talking like?
It looks to be that style at least.
Okay.
So,
just asking out of curiosity.
That I don't know 100%. It looks to be that, but I would need to look into it a little bit more.
Yeah.
Baseball and football jerseys aren't quite my forte as much. So
no, for sure.
That's what I was really diving into today with this. But from what I can gather, though, it looks pretty similar. If not, it'll be like the Reebok thing, where it's still like in Indonesia kind of thing, like even how the the current Adidas ones are essentially. So
right. Yeah, for me, like, and Carter, maybe you too, as the consumer, like, I buy a lot of jerseys. There's a lot of jerseys back here and up in the closet too. Not nearly as much as you, because you're just and I will.
He's on his own level. Yeah,
I'll apologize to Chris, because he pointed out too. He says, beyond comparable to anyone else, I am hurt, Auddie. Comparable to you, and you two are on your own little island when it comes to this stuff. But for me as a consumer, I just don't want there to be sacrifice in quality there. I liked what Adidas did. I really am a big fan of the retail jerseys you can buy for Adidas. I think the quality's there. I've seen made in Canada Adidas jerseys, and they're, obviously at a higher standard of quality, but like, the retail ones are like pretty accurate, like replicas of what the made in Canadas are. And I just hope that with Fanatics coming in, you don't lose that kind of, I don't know. I don't know what the quality is there, is what I'm trying to say. Going from Reebok to Adidas was like, holy shit, this is like, at least for me, I was like, the quality for what you get at retail, at the retail level, was just like so much better. And I don't want them to move backwards with what they're gonna, with what Fanatics is gonna bring in. But that's yet to be seen. A lot of people saying they're gonna be cautiously optimistic. A lot of people, like myself, jumping to conclusions very early based on the name and their reputation. But yeah, we'll see what happens here. It's going to be interesting to say the least. Not the name that a lot of people were expecting, and not obviously the sexiest name out there in terms of, like you said, CCM, Nike, all these other companies that could have been coming in. And there's a lot of conversation in here. I'll read some of the chat. Where were we here? Just wait till next year this time. Just wait until next year. Time to go crazy on the inevitable Adidas jersey sale. A lot of people are going to be excited about that. I'm going to be beyond pumped.
I got 8 more teams to get to have the 32 collection, and you bet your ass I am waiting for those sales.
Yeah. Carter, you going to be doing the same?
Oh yes, absolutely.
Carter, a lot of Flames jerseys coming up for you, right?
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
I don't think they could go cheap enough for you to buy a Flames jersey.
No, honestly, free wouldn't even get it for me. So
my low point in my collecting was adding an Oilers jersey to the collection, but it was the reverse retro from this year, and I love that McFarland jersey. So
and it's the only one you'll ever buy. So
yeah, that's true. That's true.
The only Oilers, because I'm trying to do the same thing as you. I'm way far behind, by the way, compared to you. But I bought an Oilers jersey. It was a Cassian orange home for like 20 something bucks, and I just stripped it, and now that's the
nice.
Oilers jersey from my collection. I couldn't justify keeping Cassian on the back.
No.
I did cheap out on Fanatics to Foley jersey because it was on sale, but it only hangs, so it's been good so far. Well, that's good to hear. CCM was right there. Somebody saying I'm willing to bet there were no other bidders. So CCM is owned by a private equity firm. It may have been a bit of an ask. That's cool to know. I didn't know that. Chris cautiously optimistic about the Fanatics contract. Let's see here. Short-term gains for long-term losses. That's the only way Bettman does business. I guess we'll find out. It's yet to be seen, but you're not wrong in that regard. This is the main point. MLB authentic jerseys are now ranging in the $400 to $500 range these days, while the replicas are hovering around $150. The Indos aren't the worst, but not the best either. And then Nunya just asking for clarification, and JD, good to see you. I didn't realize it was you. Yeah, nice. Good to see you, JD. But yeah, I'm like I said, I was quick to jump the gun and get all pissy pants about it because I was that's who I am on Twitter. I'm a fucking shithead. I'm a pissy pants. That's kind of just how I am. But I'll stay cautiously optimistic.
I mean,
I'm excited to see it though.
Yeah.
Like I'm excited to see like when the Adidas reveal happened and they had all the jerseys. I remember my pal Neil at Post to Post. He put a big video out and looking at everything, and he's a big jersey guy too. Shout out Neil. Went and had dinner with him last night. Good to see him again. But yeah, it's gonna be nice to see like the reveal happen, and that's always an exciting thing to come to fruition when you get new jerseys. So.
Yeah, I remember seeing the Adidas reveal, and Calgary and Anaheim at the time disappointing me, and I mean they still are just on the ice
in different ways
at this point. Yeah. So, I don't know. I guess out of this game though, it's the best outcome. The Flames stay in the hunt, and the Ducks continue to tank hard for Bedard. So.
Hey, that's all you can ask for, gentlemen. If the Flames could do it, then I would be all on board. But they're too good to suck, and they suck too much to be good. So that's kind of where the Flames are. We call that perpetual mediocrity. Stuck in the middle. That's the Calgary Flames way, baby. Yeah, give it up for the Calgary Flames. Gentlemen, this is fun. It's a late one. I appreciate you guys sticking around, especially on the heels of a loss, but you guys are used to that being guys who cover the Anaheim Ducks. Carter, I'll start with
happy at this point.
Yeah, exactly. Carter, let's start with you. Plug away. The floor is yours. Tell the people where they can find you and what you guys are up to.
Yeah, so I'm on Twitter at Carter_POTTS_97. Nate and I host the Quack Report together. You can follow us on all of the social media at Quack Report Pod. And we'll be live streaming tomorrow night, 8 p.m. Mountain Time, 7 p.m. Pacific. So, yeah, come hang out. We welcome everybody. So
yeah, good.
We don't just talk Ducks. We talk a little bit of everything. We'll probably be talking more about the jerseys, and we'll just let Nate go off on his own. I might even leave, go grab a sandwich for half an hour.
Adam had Adam's history corner. We're gonna have every now and then we have Nate's jersey corner.
Nice.
As in every week.
Every week. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I love it. Nate, floor is yours.
You can find me, of course, at the Quack Report. You can probably find me trying to avoid homework. And you can find me doing that on Twitter at Tate Namas. You can see takes on the Flames, the Ducks. And just to let everybody know for Flames as well, if the Flames don't make the playoffs, go cheer for the Calgary Roughnecks because they are looking hot right now and they're heading up to the trade deadline. I think sitting second in the West right now. It's been good times over there in the Rough House. Otherwise for my Twitter, you can see, different concepts and that kind of thing too. So Yeah, lots over there, I guess, on my Twitter page.
Hell yeah. And if you're listening on playback, actually, if you're listening on YouTube as well, both of their social medias will be tagged in the description. Shout out to producer Rob for getting that all set up for us. Okay, the next Calgary Flames game over call is going to be on Thursday. I will have that one it'll be with me. You're going to get Auddie back to back. I know everybody's all excited for that. That'll be against the Vegas Golden Knights. No guest yet. We're still working on it. We'll see what happens here. But yes, you will be joined by me on Thursday against the Vegas Golden Knights. Thank you guys so much for watching. This has been a great show. Featuring my pals from the Quack Report, Carter and Nate. If you're listening on playback, please be sure to like, follow, subscribe to the podcast, wherever you get your podcast from, your favorite podcatcher. If you're watching on YouTube, hit that like button. Subscribe to SDPN Sports. Lots of cool stuff coming up as we approach playoff season here. Hopefully for the Calgary Flames, but I'm not holding my breath. Thank you to our friends over at Sports Interaction. Thank you to everybody at SDPN Sports. This has been Game Over Calgary on the heels of a Calgary Flames win. I almost said loss because I'm so used to a Calgary Flames win, 5-1 over the Anaheim Ducks. Be safe, pals. We'll talk to you guys on Thursday against the Vegas Golden Knights. Peace.
Game over! Powered by Sports Interaction, Canada